So, morning we discussed about very basics of Internet of Things and some of the hardware, how to choose the hardware, and we also discussed about modular approach to develop a, IoT device. Then we also touched upon uh, the software programming, right? I think either we can write in assembly or Python or C++, whatever high level language you want. But the digital systems can understand ones and zeros. So finally, it has to go into instruction has to go as a ones and zeros, right? So that is what we discussed. Now, this session, what we will try to do is based on so far what we have discussed, right? Let us try to uh, implement IoT systems and and try to understand how typically an IoT system can work, right? Uh, you may not have a IoT hardware device, but that's okay. With the available laptop and mobile phones, and with some of the configurable software, that's what we are going to do. Fine. So before we get into the lab session, again, I wanted to revisit. Morning we discussed about the IoT protocol stack, right? When we wanted to do a hands-on, uh, we need one things, we need people, we need cloud, right? In this configuration, generally the cloud is going to be a server, both things and people are going to be client, right? So when we want to exchange a data via IoT, or when you want to control something via IoT, basically we need two clients and one server, right? Because the client is going to be things as a IoT device, and people we wanted to control that device, and we are going to do that via the cloud. So that is what we are going to try in this experiment, right? So what we are going to do in a first experiment is we are going to use 802.11 in a physical layer and a data link layer, which is going to be a Wi-Fi. Because most of you may be using your mobile hotspot, or maybe you will be connecting only on Wi-Fi. Now the network layer we will use IPv4, and in a transport layer we will use TCP/IP stack. And at application layer, the first experiment what we are going to try is using an MQTT protocol, right? So the MQTT protocol is message queue telemetry transport protocol. That's how both the clients are going to connect it to the cloud, right? So given our stack, what we are going to use is we have requested you to download and install one particular software MQTT box on your laptop. That is a desktop version, right? So that will act as one of the client. And we have also requested you to install one mobile app, MQTT box, MQTT Dash for Android users, and MQTT tool for iOS users, right? So that is going to act as one more client. So which means that may be a people, assuming that that client is a people, and your MQTT box is going to be another client, which is a things. Now you can connect n number of clients, right? So what I'm going to do is, after we do an initial experiment, I will try to connect one more it as another client, right? So there we will be having three clients. One is an IoT kit is one client, and your MQTT box is going to be another client, and your MQTT dash or MQTT tool, your mobile app is going to be a third client. Now we will try to use one of the cloud server, which is going to be hivemq.com, to exchange the data, right? Now, the participants, you are sitting in a various places, so you can able to exchange a data between all participants, including me, right? Because we all are going to form as a IoT network, right? That is what we are going to do. By doing so, since one of the hardware also I'm going to connect as a client, you can able to read my sensor value, you can able to control my hardware sitting at your place, right? So that is what actually the IoT device is. After we do this experiment, I will also explain the code on the hardware. So that is what actually the IoT hardware you will be doing it. This code also I have provided you in the Google Drive as a reference program. If you should, when I explain the program, even if you want, you can refer the same code only. I'm going to use it, right? So that is what we are going to do. Okay. Now, before we do an experiment, let us try to spend some few minutes understanding what is this MQTT protocol, right? Uh, the MQTT is an acronym of Message Queue Telemetry Transport. Actually, this protocol was developed by IBM long back. Means even the internet bandwidth and all was not available as if now what we are having, right? So I think I'm not sure. Maybe some of you should have heard there is a device called pager, right? I think before mobile there is a device called a pager where you cannot call, but you can call some landline number and you can pass the message and they will message you. You can on the pager you can only see the messages, right? So because at that point in time you don't had a sufficient internet bandwidth, even messages has to go in queue. So that point in time, IBM wanted to develop a lightweight protocol. MQTT protocol is a lightweight protocol where n number of times you wanted to send data, maybe 10,000 times you wanted to send the data, but each data is going to be a smaller in size. So that's the reason the MQTT was developed. But after that, what has happened? The bandwidth has increased. All those things have happened, and nobody was using this MQTT protocol. Then the moment all the social media has come in, the chat server kind of a thing, and the IoT things where the sensor data has to be exchanged. Means every minute if you wanted to send a sensor data, and then if you have about 500 sensors, you need to send a number of data packets, right? So then ideally the best suited was MQTT protocol. Then again the MQTT got a rebirth, right? It got a relife. Then now if you see most of the IoT systems, the MQTT protocol is being used. So the MQTT protocol is using publisher subscriber model. I think just before we took a break for lunch, we were discussing about communication models, right? I think request response, publisher subscriber, push pull, and exclusive pair, right? So this particular MQTT protocol uses a publisher subscriber, the second one, what we have discussed, that is what it is using, right? So the terminology, what you have to map it or what you have to remember here is, normally if a source wanted to send a data to a destination, the whoever is sending a data is normally we call as a transmitter, right? And whoever is receiving a data, we call them as a receiver. So we normally well versed with the term transmitter and receiver, right? But here the transmitter is called publisher, the receiver is called subscriber. The job what it is doing is same, so only the name was different. So you just remember that name. The transmitter is called publisher, the receiver is called subscriber. As discussed, the publisher subscriber model, the transmitter and receiver, or a publisher and a subscriber, is called client, right? Both the publisher and the subscriber is called client. The server is going to be a broker, right? Between publisher and subscriber, always there will be a broker. Between publisher and subscriber, always there will be a broker. So the MQTT architecture, how it works is, assuming that in this flyer, I am showing here, this is one MQTT client and this is another MQTT client, right? Assuming that now this client is going to send a message, right? This client will send a message to the broker. So the publisher will publish a message to the broker, and for each message, it will have an identity. Each message, there will be an identity. That identity is called normally topic, right? So the publisher is going to publish a message with a topic to the broker. The publisher is going to publish a message with a topic to the broker, right? Now the subscriber will subscribe to the broker for a topic, right? The subscriber will subscribe to the broker for a topic, right? What broker will do? Broker will collect the messages from the publisher, because the publisher is going to send the message only to the broker, right? Broker will collect the messages from the publisher, and broker will also receive subscription requests from all the subscribers. Subscribers can be many, publisher will be only one, right? The subscribers can be many. Now the broker will collect a subscription request from all the subscribers for a given topic, and broker will compare the publisher topic with the subscriber topic. Then if for example, if the 100 people have subscribed for a particular topic, and the broker will distribute that messages to 100 people, right? So that is the architecture on which the MQTT works, right? To give you a better understanding, I just give you one example, right? I hope most of you may be WhatsApp users, and you will be at least in one group, you will be as a member, right? So WhatsApp also uses MQTT protocol. That's the reason I'm taking that an example, so that you can understand how the communication flow is happening, right? So assuming that in WhatsApp you create a group, right? Whenever you create a group, what happens that for that group there is a name, right? That name will be the topic. So the group name itself will act as a topic. Assuming that in that group there are 100 people, right? Whoever mobile numbers you are adding in that group, automatically that particular mobile number will subscribe for that group, because they are inside that group. Automatically they will be subscribing to the group. WhatsApp server is going to be the broker. In this case, in this example, WhatsApp server is going to be the broker. Now in a group, out of 100 people in a group, assuming that one person is sending a message, right? The person who is sending a message is called publisher. At that point in time, the person who is sending a message is called publisher. The publisher will send a message to where? The publisher will send a message to the broker, right? Now broker will receive that. Automatically, since the publisher is also in that group, the topic, the identity for that message is going to be that group ID, right? Group name. Now the WhatsApp broker, what it will do, it will see the remaining 99 people should have been subscribed, right? So immediately it will send that message to all 99 people, right? That is how when you put a message in a group, instantly that message is relayed to all the remaining people, right? At that point in time, remaining 99 people are called subscriber, right? Now for this message, assuming that somebody else replies, so whoever is replying is called again the publisher, right? Now the remaining 99 people, including the first person who has sent a message, also will become a subscriber now, right? So now again this will happen reverse. The whoever is replying, that message again will go to the WhatsApp server. Then the server will distribute it to the remaining 99 people, including the first person who has sent a message. That is how the data is being communicated between two clients. The broker used to get the message from the publisher, and broker will distribute the messages to all the subscribers, right? So now here the question is, a publisher is publishing a data. Now the broker also distributed that to 99 people. What is the guarantee that all 99 people will be always online and always acknowledge the receipt? There is no guarantee, because out of 99 people, assuming that 10 people mobile itself they have switched off, right? So what will happen? The broker cannot get the acknowledgement from that 10 people until they turn on and they acknowledge, right? So until then, whether the message has to be retained in the network or whether the message can be ignored, right? So those are all the configurations you can make it in MQTT, right? Now even in this WhatsApp itself, when you delete some message or when you delete some files, right, it will also ask whether you wanted to delete for you or whether you wanted to delete from the entire server, right? So which means what? The message from the publisher, when it is receiving the server also need to duplicate that, server also need to retain that message, right? Because why server has to retain? Because the remaining 10 people, we don't know when they will turn on the mobile, right? So whenever they turn on the mobile, the server has to send that data to that remaining 10 people also, and hence it has to be retained, right? When you delete it, you may delete it only for you. You may delete it entire server, right? And hence it also needs to be duplicated, right? So there will be two fields: one, whether the message has to be duplicated by the server, or whether the message has to be retained by the server. So these are all the sum of the configurations you will do it in a MQTT protocol. We'll see that. Now, when what is the syntax we will be using here? Being both, as we discussed, both publisher and subscriber is going to be a client, and hence the syntax is going to be client.publish. You need to pass two arguments. When you are sending a data, you need to pass two arguments. One is the topic. The topic is nothing but identity for your message. Identifier for your message is the topic, right? Now, the message is nothing but actually what data we wanted to send, right? The client.publish, you need to pass two arguments. One is the topic, another one is the message. The topic is nothing but the identity to the message. The message is actually the data what we want to send. But when you wanted to use MQTT protocol, the data, the message, you need to prepare in such a format, in a standard format, right? The message is a frame, it's a framework. And in that message, you need to have 5 fields. In that message, you need to have 5 fields. The field number 1 is going to be QoS. QoS means quality of service, right? There are 3 levels of quality of services available in MQTT: QoS 0, QoS 1, QoS 2. We will see that little bit later. We will see what is the difference between 0, 1 and 2. But at the moment, you need to specify what is the quality of service level you are expecting, right? QoS 0 or 1 or 2. Now, the second and third field is message.retained or message.duplicate, right? This is a Boolean field, whether true or false you will give. So when you say false, the message need not to be retained, message need not to be duplicated, right? Message.payload, the fourth field, message.payload is actually the data what you wanted to send, right? Here I'm just showing JSON. JSON is a variable name. In this case, it is going to be a variable name. In that variable, I have stored my data, right? Finally, the last field is going to be message.payload length. So you need to give what is going to be your total length of the message. So here I'm just giving a string length plus 1 because I'm storing it in an array, and hence in the array a of g, 0th element is also there, giving it plus 1, right? So whenever you wanted to send a data, the message needs to be prepared in this format, and then we have to send. One important thing in MQTT is MQTT accepts only the string format. You cannot send it by integer, you cannot send it by float, you cannot send it by byte, right? It accepts only the string. So and hence, even though your message is, say, for example, 23.86 degrees centigrade, you convert that into a string, send it. Other side again, you convert back into a float, right? So all the data, whatever you wanted to send inside a MQTT has to be converted into a string, because the entire thing is going to go as a single string length. So complete, it will go as a string. The frame is going to go as a string. That is how it is going to be published. Now, the receiving side is going to be, the syntax is client.subscribe. Again, on receiving side, you need to give 3 arguments. One is the topic. So the broker is going to compare the publisher topic and subscriber topic. Accordingly, the messages will be given to the subscribers, right? Again, the second argument here is the QoS level. The third is a subroutine. See, as a subscriber means what? You are going to receive some data, right? What you wanted to do with the data, you have to define somewhere in your program, right? That is a user function you will define. As soon as you receive the message, immediately that user function will be called, and you should have defined what you wanted to do with the data in a user function, right? So here I am giving you an example. Button 1 is nothing but the topic name, QoS 0 is QoS level, and subroutine name I am keeping here as message from button 1 as a subroutine name, right? This is an example, right? So now let us see what is the 3 different type of QoS, right? QoS 0 and QoS 1 and QoS 2. QoS 0 means the client will publish to the broker, client will not bother to get acknowledgement at all, right? I again repeat, client will publish, but client will not bother to get an acknowledgement from the broker, right? But we may think normally what we do in a transmitter receiver, you will send a data, then you will also get an acknowledgement from the destination that the data has been received, right? But here in case of QoS 0, there is no acknowledgement, right? Most of the cases, 80 to 90% of the cases, MQTT is being used at QoS 0. I will tell you why. Because you may think that if you don't get acknowledgement, then that is not correct, right? So you are not sure whether the message has been delivered or not. But at the same time, as I said earlier, if you want to get an acknowledgement, how broker will give acknowledgement? Because the message is meant for subscriber, right? So the broker has to get a acknowledgement from all the subscriber, then only it can acknowledge to the publisher, right? So if the 10 people have not turned on their mobile, then until it gets acknowledgement from all the subscribers, the data packet has to be in the network, right? So the network will get choked. So every message, n number of users, right? So the network will get choked. But here, in case QoS 1, if you select QoS 1, what will happen? The client will publish, the broker will return acknowledgement, right? But when the broker will get give you the acknowledgement, the broker will distribute it to all the subscribers. All the subscriber will acknowledge to the broker, then only the broker can give an acknowledgement to the publisher, right? So in this case, if you select QoS 1, the problem here is if some subscribers are not acknowledging until all people acknowledges, the data packet will be in the network. So that is going to be an issue, right? But if you are going to use MQTT within your organization or within your IoT network, where you are sure all the subscribers are always going to be online and then they will reply, you can use QoS 1. There is absolutely no problem, right? In case of QoS 2, what will happen? The client will publish to the broker, and broker will not distribute the messages to the subscribers. The client will first publish. The broker will reply to the publisher telling that I have received your publication, right? That is an acknowledgement between a publisher and a broker, right? Then only client will say, now you please release it to all the subscribers. That is the publish release command, right? Here, if you see, there is a publish release command. The client will say, now you please release the publication. Then the broker will release the publication, get all the acknowledgement from all the subscribers. Then it will return back a publish complete message to the client, right? This is the difference between
Dear participants, kindly mute yourself.
Okay. So QoS 1 and 2, it depends on the subscriber's acknowledgement, right? And hence, you are free to use QoS 0, 1 or 2, but you need to be careful when all the nodes are within your control, all the subscribers are within your control, and if you are sure always everything is on, you can use 1 or 2. There's no issues. But when you are not sure, better to use QoS 0. Right? That is the reason most of the places it is being used QoS 0. Now, let us try to do this first experiment. What we will do is, as we discussed, we need two clients, right? One client has to act as a publisher, another client has to act as a subscriber, right? Then we need one broker, right? Here, the broker.hivemq.com is going to be our broker. That is the remote server, cloud server. Then one of the client, we will use MQTT box on PC. This is what the software we requested you to download on and install it on your laptop. Then the another client is going to be MQTT dash and MQTT tool, right? So this MQTT dash is for Android users. MQTT tool is going to be iOS users, right? So let us try to configure first the clients. So what we are going to do, we are going to configure the MQTT box, the desktop client first. Then we will configure the mobile client, right? Then after we do the first basic experiment, I will add this IoT kit. I will add this IoT kit as one more client, right? Now, assuming that we have about 100 participants here, now anybody can exchange the message with anyone, right? It's like a group. Similarly, you can able to control this hardware. You can able to read this hardware, right? So this is what we will achieve. This IoT block, the triangle block, is what we are going to achieve, right? So from here onwards, I'm not going to use the PowerPoint. Instead, I will also parallelly do this experiment along with you, so you can follow me, right? So step by step we will do it. And if you have any issues or anything, please let me know, right? So I'll just go into an online. So we will try to do online, right? So once you have installed your MQTT box, you will see this kind of a login, right? So this kind of a icon. The shortcut should have been created in your desktop automatically after you installed. If not, you can also search here, right? In your Windows search, you can say MQTT box. So it will show you this MQTT box app, right? And then you can also open it, right? So first thing what you have to do is double click this. The step number 1. Let us do it slowly, step by step. Please follow that, right? Just double click, open it. You need an internet connection, of course. You need a internet connection, right? Once you open, you will see something like this. Of course, I have here something like a demo. Better I will delete this so that no confusion to you. Let me delete this. I think you will see something like this. When you open the screen, what I am now sharing it with you, this is the same thing you will see, right? Let us try to create a topic. Sorry, create a MQTT client now, right? So please click create MQTT client. You have here, right? Just click create MQTT client. Step number 1, you need to double click and open that software. Once you open, you will see a blue band MQTT client, right? And you will see this page. Whatever page now I am showing, that is the page you will be seeing, right? Step number 2, you can give any name. MQTT client name, you can give anything. Say, let me give something like AOT demo or something, right? You can give any name. There is no restriction. Step number 3, you need to configure the protocol. I think this all configuration we have already provided you in a PDF file. Those who have already done, you can just ensure that you have done it, right? Those who have not done, you please just quickly follow with me and then you can do it. So the protocol, the next step is the protocol. You have to select. We are going to use MQTT in application layer and a TCP in a transport layer, right? So we need to select the protocol MQTT stroke TCP. As a default, it will show as the web server WS. Instead of that, please select MQTT stroke TCP, right? Now, the last step is the host. Host is nothing but the broker or our cloud server, right? So here, this is going to be broker.hive.mq.com. So don't do any spelling mistake, because this is going to be your server address, broker.hive.mq.com. What I will do is I'll just bring in this thing. So you can see now better, slightly bigger, right? So this is the host name, broker.hive.mq.com, right? This is what you have to give here in the host. You have to give here broker.hive.mq.com. That's it. Once you have done that, you please save it. Participants, kindly mute. I think somebody's voice is disturbing. I don't know.
Dear participants, kindly mute yourself. My dear participants, kindly mute yourself.
Okay. Once you save, you will see that your client already gone and connected to your server. Server means broker. You will see here the green band connected. In case some of you are not able to get connected, The issue could be you just check whether you have internet first, then on the configuration, you ensure that you have selected a protocol as MQTT stroke TCP. Then your host should be broker.hivemq.com. You should not have some extra space or some spelling mistake, right? Once you have done this, automatically it will get connected, right? So now let us subscribe some of the topics, right? Let us subscribe some of the topics. So please follow this. The topic to subscribe, first you subscribe to STEPS1, case sensitive, STEPS1, right? First topic what we wanted to subscribe is steps 1. Now you can also add more, you can also subscribe more topics, right? You can add a topic. You have here add subscriber button, right? If you click, it will add. Again here you say steps 2, right? Now again you add. If you scroll down, it will be there here steps 3, right? Again you can add here steps 4. We wanted you to add 5 topics: steps 1, steps 2, steps 3, and steps 5, right? STEPS 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just add those topics. Done. Okay, now you have done this. Let us minimize it. Don't close it. Minimize this. So we have configured one MQTT client, right? Let us minimize this. Now let us configure another MQTT client. I am going to show you for an Android users, but iOS users also can follow, right? Because maybe the navigation will be slightly different, but the content is going to be same, right? So let me try to bring my mobile on the screen if possible.
Session 3.
Just give me a second. I'll just. Now you could able to see my mobile screen. So
Yes, sir.
once you downloaded that app, right? The app will look something like this, MQTT Dash, right? For iOS users, it will look something like MQT Tool, right? That is an app, right? Open this app. Just click this app. See here, I think you are seeing some kind of a connection. Forget about this. If you have not configured, nothing will be there, right? You will have a blank screen. That's okay, right? Now you have a plus button here. In the right extreme, you have a plus button here. Just click that plus button. Once you click the plus button, it will ask a name. You can give any name. So let me give this name, right? And address. There will be an address here, right? Here you have to give your broker address, which is broker.hivemq.com. So the same thing what you are given in your MQTT box, broker.hivemq.com. That's it. You have to open, give some name, any name you can give. Address alone, you ensure that you are giving a proper address, right? Once you do this, just save it. You have a old floppy symbol, just save it. Once you save that, you will see here there will be a connection established, right? You just click this. Again, you will see a complete blank screen. For a momentarily, it will say connecting, right? So that is your mobile also should have internet, and it is going and connecting, right? Now we need to create a widget to visualize. We need to create a widget to visualize, right? So to create a widget, let us just click the plus button. First, let us create, you have different type of widgets. First, let us create a text widget, right? Again, here you have to give a name, right? Let me give a name as a chat or something. I can give any name, but topic, please ensure that you give a same topic what I am requesting, so that we can do this experiment. Steps 1, right? The topic is steps 1. Just save it. Now you see here there is a widget has got opened, right? Now again you can create another widget. In this time, let us create a widget with a switch, right? Switch or button. Again here I am giving a name as S1 or something, whatever name you want to give. The topic, don't change the topic. This is going to be steps 2. This is going to be steps 2, right? Now what it is going to publish, if you just scroll down, you will see this is going to create a widget something like this. When you check it, it is going to publish 1. When you uncheck, it will publish 0, right? Now just save this. Once you have done this, you can save it, right? Now I got another widget S1, right? Now you can create one more widget. In this case, let us create range or progress, right? Range or progress. Here, let me put a topic, steps 3, right? Here also, you will have a range 0 to 100 or something like that, right? Let me change this to, say, for example, let me change this to 3000. You can change, that is going to be a display range. You change this, right? 0 to 3000 or something, and then just save it. Now you will see there will be a sensor widget. There is a chat widget. 3 widgets we have created. Let us create 2 more widgets like a switch or button. Again, it is going to be switch or button. Here, let me put S2. I am going to give steps 4. Right? Just I save it. Again, I am going to give another widget, which is going to be again switch. Right? Here I will let me put S3. See why I am asking you to give this topics. What I wanted means you can able to control my hardware, because my hardware also I am going to configure with the same topic, right? So this is going to be steps 5. Then save it. Right now, what I will do is I will try to bring both the go to your MQTT box, right? You can subscribe. You have already given this steps 1. Under that there will be a button called subscribe. Just click subscribe in all the 5 topic. There will be a subscribe thing. Just click it, right? So now you have subscribed. Let me try to bring, if possible, let me try to bring both the things in the same screen. Yeah, I have brought this. Now, for example, if I wanted to publish, right? If I wanted to publish for a topic steps 1, and my payload here is say hello, right? If I publish hello, I should see here, right? Now all the participants, you should have received this hello in your first chat box, right? Now if somebody else is putting something else, right? Can you send some other message? Any one of the participant can send some other message. Now I am displaying here all the participants. See here, I think somebody is sending a message. Now I could able to see both the client, because both the clients are published, right? Now it is not that only here, from mobile also you can publish. For example, if I hold this chat window, right, it will ask set, right? So let me publish this, say for example, if I say KIOT set, now everybody will get here KIOT, right? So now what has happened, we could able to exchange the data, right? We could able to exchange the data, right? We could able to exchange the data, either a chat data or whatever data we could able to yes, it is end to end encrypted, because we are going to we are using a free server, so automatically that is encrypted. You can also see who has sent based on this payload, right? This payload field has an information which from which client which has come in, right? Now what I'm going to do is, if I check this widget, this S1, right? If I check this, you will see that in your widget also you will be getting I think let me show here, right? This is steps 2 topic, right? If I check here, I will get 1, right? If I uncheck, I'll get 0. It is not only the data, your widget also will change. You know whether it is on or off, right? Assuming that in home automation, 5 people are in home, whether the motor is on or not, before you turn on, you can see whether it is on or off, right? That's possible. Now let me bring in another thing to you. Let me try to I just wanted to bring in another camera so that I can show you the hardware kit. Yeah, you could able to see this picture. This is the IoT kit, right? I have connected, right? Now, if you check in this, right? If you check this, I'm just initializing this IoT kit, right? You can see that if you turn on this, you are seeing, you are controlling this LED, right? Say for example, here, if I turn on this, I have a green LED that will be turned on. If I turn on this, I have 3 LEDs here, right? All 3 is on, right? I have a light sensor connected here. That is the sensor value you are seeing here, right? This is a light sensor. You are seeing here the sensor value 1135. That is an ADC output, right? If I close this, instantly this value should go 0, right? It is going 0. See, lower value. If I open, it is going to be higher, right? Now you are sitting somewhere else, but you could able to control my hardware, right? Because say for example, if somebody turns off this, my red LED is off now, right? But if you ask, one person is turning on, one person is turning off, the system will receive the latest command, and accordingly it will work. Now all 3 are on, right? Instantaneously you can see, the moment you turn on here, you can see instantaneously. See, for a demonstration purpose, I am showing LED, but this could be a motor, this could be an actuator, this could be anything. That's all about IoT, right? So you have a client and you have a broker. You have used MQTT. That is the reason you need a broker. And you have a user interface. You have created a user interface. Of course, if you know how to develop a Android app, you can also do that Android app. We have now used a standard Android app. There are n number of Android apps are available, right? If you wanted to do Android app development, that is a separate topic. If you want to use your own app, you can do it, or you can use this app and then quickly test your IoT system, right? Quickly you can test your IoT system, right? So let me also take you through the program, right? Anyway, I have given you a reference program. Quickly, I will walk through the code what I have written, right? So that you understand the hardware how we have configured, right? This program is also I have given you in the reference program folder, right? If you should have downloaded that zip file, and if you have extracted, there will be an MQTT button send1, right? That is the program, right? Let us go through this program. Right? So what I'm, if you see the program, first I'm adding the required header files, right? As per normal C, hash include. I want SPI because my network processor and application processor is communicating on SPI. I need SPI. I'm going to use Wi-Fi, and hence I need Wi-Fi.h. I'm going to use an MQTT API protocols, and hence I'm going to use an IP stack to connect. So I'm using a Wi-Fi IP stack because we have connected using a TCP IP stack, right? The countdown.h and MQTT client.h is the protocol required for the MQTT library, right? After that, these are all the variables. I think I have also given you the comment on the each line so that you can able to understand. So this SSID password is a character data type variable. This is my now the hardware kit, right? My hardware kit. I think you have seen the this hardware kit, right? This hardware kit is connected through internet via my mobile hotspot, right? My mobile hotspot name and mobile hotspot password, right? That is what the next two passwords here, the SSID and password. I just wanted some variables here, so I have declared this variable temp1, temp2, temp3. We'll see where we are using this. Then I have, see, now what we have done, I am publishing sensor information. That is my steps 3 topic. That is the reason we requested you to configure with steps 3 the range. You are able to see the sensor value. Steps 2, steps 4, steps 5 I am using for controlling the actuator 1, actuator 2 and actuator 3. That is a red LED, green LED and yellow LED. These are all just a variable, right? After that, I am initializing my Wi-Fi IP stack with an IP stack, right? So my client is going to be here, it's a class. My client is going to be Wi-Fi IP stack, right? Using this API protocol, I'm just telling to the server that I'm going to use a TCP IP stack. I'm going to use a TCP IP stack, right? So after this, these are all variables. Void connect. These are all user functions. Sorry, these are all user functions. We will come back to this this user function. 1 minute. I think maybe let me see. I can show you that in another editor, so that may be little bit easy for you to understand. Okay, I think this is better. Here I can user functions we will see later. I think this is much better. This is the same program only. I'm just using a different editor for a better explanation. So here the include header files we have seen. We have also seen the topics, variables, what we have discussed, right? Now, these are all the void connect, void message from button 1, void message from button 2, void message from button 3 as a user function, right? We will come back to this. We will come back to these user functions. We will go based on the program flow, and then we'll come back to this. In a setup, what I'm trying to do in setup is I'm trying to declare. See, basically, when you do a program, there is a setup portion, there is a loop portion, right? In setup, whichever program you wanted to execute only once, those codes put it in the setup. Whichever program you wanted to execute multiple times, put it in the loop functions, right? So here on the setup function, whichever pin I am using, for example, pin number 29, I am using red LED. I have declared as output, and initially I am sending a low signal, right? Pin number 9, I am using output. I have sending low. So this is a yellow LED, red LED, and green LED. This is the pin I have connected my sensor, light sensor, right? That I have declared as input, right? After that, what I am trying to do is I am trying to connect to internet, right? I am using a Wi-Fi.begin API protocol, SSID password. So what it will do is the moment this line is getting executed, the kit will try to search a wireless router with this SSID name, and it will try to connect, right? After that, I'm trying to put a for loop, sorry, while loop. See here, I'm putting a while loop. What I'm doing is I'm trying to check whether my kit is connected with the router or not, right? Wi-Fi dot status not equal to connected. So which means until it connects, it will be keep on printing this dot 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 dot, right? It will be printing dot 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 dot. It will be printing, right? After this, once it is connected, it will come out from the loop. Then it will go and check. The moment any node is connecting to a router, the router will give a dynamic IP, right? Again, I am putting another while loop here.
ஆமா சார் எனக்கு ஒண்ணே ஒண்ணுதாங்க
So here we are going to put a while.
போட்டுருவோம் சார்
Participants, kindly mute yourself. Participants, kindly mute yourself.
யாருப்பா அன்மியூட் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்காங்க
Dear participants, kindly mute yourself. Venkat Raman sir.
Okay, so after we connect to a router, we are trying to check what is an IP we obtained, right? So IP, you don't know what IP because it is going to be a dynamic IP. I just wanted some IP. It should not be none, right? After this, I'm just printing a Wi-Fi status, right? This Wi-Fi status again is a user function. What it is printing, it is declared in the bottom. You just see here, Wi-Fi status is, it is printing a what is an IP it has obtained. Wi-Fi strength, signal strength. RSSI means it is a receiver signal strength index, right? Receiver signal strength index. That is what I am just printing, which will be normally in a decibels, right? dB. Now after this, what I am calling, again I am calling a function called user function called connect, right? Now let us go and see what the connect is going to do. I think the connect is declared here, right? Let me expand this. The connect, what is happening? I have just declared here a variable host name is equal to brokerhivemq.com, right? In your mobile as well as in your laptop MQTT box, we have configured the host, right? Here I am giving host name, and I am also configuring the port name 1883. Then I am trying to use this ipstack.connect, right? The moment this line executes, before this itself we have connected to internet, right? Now the hardware has internet connection. The moment this line executes, it will try to connect to this particular server, broker.hivemq.com under port 1883. We discussed in the morning, it can have 8 simultaneous TCP or UDP sockets, right? One of the socket I'm connecting this server. Then I'm just, for my information, I'm just printing serial.println MQTT connecting, right? After I connect to the server, I'm communicating to the server telling that I am going to communicate with you on MQTT protocol, and I'm going to use version 3, right? This is my client ID string, right? This is what I'm going to communicate. whatever, if my connection is successful, I will just print MQTT connected. If there is an error, if I am not able to connect, then whatever it is throwing an error, that error is what I'm putting here, right? This is what I'm printing, right? So this is what I'm doing in setup. So setup, first what we are doing, required resources we are configuring. After that, we are connecting to internet. After that, we are connecting to a cloud server using an IP stack. That's it, right? In a loop function, it is still simpler. Loop function is very, very simple. Only this much line of code, right? So let me close this setup also. If you see that this is what we have in the loop function. Loop function, what I'm checking is if client is not connected. You see here, if the client is not connected, I am again calling connect function. If client is already connected, then I am just subscribing. We saw this syntax, client.subscribe, topic, QoS level, message from button 1, button 2, button 3. These are all my user function. We will see that what we have written in the user function, right? After that, what I'm doing is I am measuring my analog value using this API protocol, my sensor value, storing that into a variable A, which is a data type of integer. I am converting using a standard sprintf function. I am converting that integer into a string because it is going to be a character. I am moving it to buff. Buff is a character variable, right? So I'm converting that into a character, right? After that, I am preparing the message, right? So you remember we discussed about 5 different field: QoS, message to be retained, message to be duplicated, my payload is buff. Now my sensor data is in buff. After this, I am just putting what is my total string length, right? Then finally I am publishing, client.publish, right? So I'm just printing here, publishing sen1 and this sensor value. Every time, this is for debugging purpose, right? This every second I'm doing. Delay 1000 means it is 1000 millisecond, right? Now, what is this message from button 1, button 2, button 3? Let us go up and see the user function. Message from button 1. As soon as I receive a message, I will be receiving all the field, right? All the 5 field I will receive, out of which I'm taking only the payload here. I'm taking the payload. I am moving that variable into temp1. I'm moving the data into a variable temp1. I am checking temp1. If it is 0, I am turning this LED off, right? If it is 1, I'm turning it on, high. So that is the reason when you click that switch to button, you are seeing our LED is on, right? So message from button 2, instead of pin number 29, I should have done for pin number 10, right? Message from button 3, I have done it for pin number 9, right? Here you can do whatever you want. See, for this example, I am showing turning on LED, turning off. You may say that if I press this button, then only it should measure the sensor value and send it to me. You can do that, right? Because in this user function, you can write whatever you want, right? So that's it. So the overall summary is you need to include the required header files, right? Required global variables. Then on setup, you need to include the required resources, which pin, output or input, whatever you want, you have to declare. Then you need to connect to internet. After you connect to internet, you need to connect to a cloud server, right? After that, in loop function, whatever you want, whether you want to subscribe or whether you want to publish, you can write, right? In case of a subscription, if you receive a data, what you wanted to do, you need to specify a subroutine, a user function. That is that user function you need to define what actually action you wanted to take. So this is the user function, right? What you wanted to do. So this is the program flow. I think I have given you an example in Python also. You can verify Python also, because the next example what we are going to do in HTTP protocol, we will use Python, right? So one program I wanted with embedded C with an API protocol, another program I wanted with Python, so that you get both the things. But for both the programs, I have given you embedded C as well as a Python programming file in a folder, which you can able to refer. Right. Still, your this thing is here, right? I can also show you 1 minute. I can also show you, if possible, what I will try to do is I'll show you the debug window, right? I can show you the, see here, when I'm resetting it, I'll just take this picture also. See, I am now trying to reset this hardware, right? I'm just resetting it. See here what is happening. Initializing, connecting to router 4G. Until it connects to my router, it is printing dot 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 dot. Right? Until it connects to my router, it is printing dot 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 dot. Once it is connected, it is waiting for IP. It has obtained a IP. This is the IP my router has given. This is the signal strength 64 dBm minus. It is connecting to broker. It is connected. Now it is publishing. Right? Now you can refer the code what we have seen here. Visa wise. This is the code we have seen, right? In setup, it should connect, then it has to print. After this, it has to publish, right? In a loop function, it will keep on publish. Every second, it is going to publish my sensor data. The moment I close it, the sensor data is going down, right? The value is going down. If I open, my sensor data will be shown higher, right? What I do on MQTT. Right? Let me minimize this. Okay, this also. Okay, now these all things we have already done, right? Actually, live itself we have done. Basically connecting this, configuring this as a client, mobile as a client, right? In case of iOS users, the host it will because you don't have widgets. Instead of that, you have only 2 blocks, right? So there you need to configure your server, and say the bottom you will have publisher and subscriber. You have to give the topic, and then in the bottom there will be a switch, subscribe, right? Connect, subscribe. There will be a button will be there. So you need to configure that. Right. This is what we have done. This hardware kit had a sensor, light sensor, and you had an actuator, this 3 LEDs. We could able to publish the sensor value. You could able to see on your mobile phone as well as your desktop version. And from your mobile phone, you could able to publish this button status. Based on that, you could able to control your actuators, right? This is what we have done. These all things we have already done. I had a PowerPoint because end of this session, we will share this document through KIoT. So tomorrow when you wanted to work also, this can act as a reference thing, right? So these are all the things we have seen directly on the code itself. Preparing a message, client.publish, all these things we have done, right? Now the next experiment, the last one, what we are going to see is a HTTP protocol, right? So the HTTP, as you all know, which is basically the hypertext transfer protocol, right? That is what it is going to be, the hypertext transfer protocol, HTTP. And all the World Wide Web page web servers uses this HTML page with HTTP protocol, right? So that is what it is being used there, right? So we will see how the World Wide Web communication web server works. As a client, you can use any of the browser, which can be a Chrome or Edge or Safari. You can use any kind of a browser. The server is going to be your web server, right? If you say www.kiot.ac.in, the kiot.ac.in is a web server, right? Google.co.in is a web server, right? So what happened from the web client, you are using a request response model, right? And you are you are sending a request, and then the server is giving back to the response, the home page you are getting, right? That data you are populating in a HTML file. That is what you are showing as a web page, right? This is the basics of the HTTP. Now, in HTTP, you just need to remember there are only very few commands are used, right? So, if you want to read, then you will use a command called get, right? Then if you want to send a data, if you want to write a data, right, then you may use a command called either post, put, or update. All these three are used for writing the data. If you want to send the data to the server, you may be using a command you may be using a command called post, put, or update. Update is already some data is there, you wanted to update, right? Post, it is adds a content, right? Put directly modifies already the existing content itself will get modified, right? So you can use either post or put or update. If you want to delete it, you can use a delete. If you want to connect to the server, you can use a connect command, right? So whatever I'm showing here red, this is what predominantly used in HTTP protocol. If you want to read, you will use get. If you want to post, if you want to write, either use a post, put, or update. Then you will use a delete. If you want to delete something, you will use a delete, right? So this is the protocol we are going to do. Now this experiment, what we are going to do, in the bottom layer, we are keeping same 802.11 IPv4 and TCP. But here, instead of MQTT, we are going to use a HTTP protocol, right? What now we are going to do is, we are going to send some kind of a sensor data to a different cloud server, ThingSpeak cloud server, and then we can able to visualize the data, right? That is what we are going to do. So, I also have here another IoT kit. I will show you a different platform, right? Because here I'm going to use Python, I need OS, right? So I'm going to use a MicroPython OS, and I have attached some sensors. Now that sensor data is what I'm going to publish, and you can able to visualize. But since you don't have hardware kit, we have given you one simulator software, HTML file we have given. So you will be simulating the sensor data and you will be sending it, right? So whenever you wanted to send a data, you need to configure something in cloud, and you wanted to prepare something in your edge node things, right? There are two portions. One is configuring on the cloud, another one is preparing on the edge node, right? So let us first do it on the cloud, right? Let me go online. So please log on to thingspeak.com. Please log on to thingspeak.com. Please log on to thingspeak.com. Once you go to thingspeak.com, I think you should have already created an account. We requested you to create an account. So in thingspeak.com, you will have right hand side, you can sign in, right? So just click the sign in button. And you need to give your credentials. Give your credentials. So the ThingSpeak is a free. It's from the MathWorks MATLAB server, right? So it gives you a free account. There is no time limit. This account is forever. It is free. But only thing is, you can able to create. Here there is an option for creating new channel, right? In your case, I think here it is showing something. Forget about this. In your case, if you have not created, nothing will be there, right? You will have only my channels. Under this, you will have new channel, right? So like this, you can able to create 4 channels, and in each channel you can send 8 sensor data, right? Let us try to create a channel. Just click new channel. To do this, just click new channel. Right? You can give any name. You can give any name. Let me give IoT demo. Description, if required, you can give. See here, within this, there are, see how ThingSpeak is organized. The upper is your account, and in that you are creating a channel. Within the channel, you can have 8 fields, right? 8 field. And in this 8 field, you can able to send your data, right? You can able to send your data. If you have only two sensor value, then you check this. If you check here, the second channel, okay? I would suggest minimum you check in 4 channels. In my case, I am just checking all the 8 channels. If I want, I can give some name also here. Right, some say this is my sensor 1, or this is my light or temperature, whatever it is. I can also give some name also. Right, here I can give say this is sen1 or something. I can give name also. After this, after you do this, you just save it, right? Step number 1, you need to log into your ThingSpeak and you need to click new channel and you have to select the fields, right? And just save it. The moment you do this, you automatically will get the screen. So this will each channel will have unique ID, right? And I think morning some professor was asking whether the data will go to cloud public or so. Here access is private, right? Default it will be private, and we will. I will also tell you how to make it public. If you want to share to everyone, you can also do that, right? So private means only you can see, others cannot see, right? Public means anybody can see. Now once you have done this, if you see in the bottom, I have created all 8 fields, so it is showing me 8 graph. In case if you have created 3 or 4, that many graphs it will show you, right? Now at this stage, please click this API keys. You have here API keys. Just click this API keys tab, right? The moment you click API key, you will see left hand side write API key, read API key. Morning we discussed about the security, 3 levels of security: built-in hardware security, then software security. This is software security because you are going to embed this key, right? Only with this key you can write, only with this key you can read. Of course, with the right key you can also read, right? So without this key, nobody can access your channel, right? I just wanted to show you where this key is. What you have to do is just scroll down. There is an API request, right? In this API request, there is a write a channel feed, right? Just copy this URL. You don't need get. Get is not required. After the get, you have from HTTPS, right? You copy this up to field 1 equal to 0. Copy this URL. Because we have created a channel, we have created a field. First, let us test manually. By sending a data manually, first we will check whether our graph is updating properly or not, right? To do that, just copy this and open new tab. Don't close this tab, open new tab. New tab. Paste this URL, don't enter it. Don't enter it, just paste this URL. You see here in the URL, https api.thingspeak.com is the server. What you are using update, right? In HTTP protocol, update means you are going to update the data. Where you are updating using the API key. Without API key, you cannot update. Using an API key, where you are updating field 1. And what you wanted to update, instead of 0, let me put some number. I wanted to update as 500, right? Now I enter, right? If I enter, see here, there will be 1, right? 1 data got updated. Now, if I wanted to change, if I wanted to send the data to my field 2, just I need to change field 2. Say in field 2, let me put that I'm going to send a data as 30, right? Something. Now the second data also got updated, right? Now go back to the previous tab where you saw this API, right? Scroll up, go to private view because our channel is private. Go to private view. Right? In this private view, scroll down. Whatever data you have given manually, now it should have come in your graph. Right? Now, if you can able to generate this URL in your IoT kit, then you can replace your sensor data with this number what you are given. Automatically, it will go to the cloud. Right? See, what we need to do, we need to generate this URL and then we need to embed our sensor value here. Instead of 30 and 500, the sensor value should be embedded and then it will go, right? Automatically it will go. So now what I request is, we have requested you to download some of the files, right? In that you had one HTML file. Right? There is a HTML file, generate and update. Right? Don't double click that. Right click that HTML file, open with Notepad. Right? Open with Notepad or WordPad, anything is okay. So let me open with Notepad. Right. See, this HTML file is we have just created as a simulator because you don't have sensor. That's the reason I have given you a small HTML file which can create a value between 400 and 700, right? And it will update into the ThinkSpeak, right? Now, what you have to do is on your ThinkSpeak, you know now where is your API key, right? So go to that API key tabs, API keys, copy your right API key, copy your right API key, come back to your notepad file, right? This is your notepad file, right? So here there is at one place you will see API key is equal to, right? Replace this with your API key. Whatever API key you are copied, replace. See here, what I am doing using a HTML, I am updating https api.thinkspeak.com, update API key is equal to this API key. I am updating field 1 plus field 2 plus field 3, field 4. All 4 fields I am sending at a time, right? What it is going to send? It is going to send the data as X variable, A variable, B variable and C variable. That is what I am creating here, right? The random number I am generating between 400 and 700, right? Once you have copied this API key, just save it. Just save it, right? Close this notepad. Close this notepad. Now again, come back to this file, generate and update file, right? Double click this. Now you can open in any browser. Right, whatever browser you have, you can open it. So let me open with Chrome. Right, you will see a HTML page. Click the button to generate a random number between 400 and 700. Right, just click generate and update. Right, you will see that there is a 3 and it has updated a number 431, 473 kind of a thing. If you go to the previous tab, this is the number which has generated. Right, now once again, if I click, what will happen? It will generate some other number. I think this has generated this number. Now that number, it will get updated, right? Now if I go and see my graph, the data has automatically has come here. You should see your data automatically here. Right? Now, the same data you can also visualize on your mobile. Let me also show you that.
key.
API keys, right? Okay. Rather than API key on your mobile phone, let me bring in a mobile phone. API keys are required. Let me bring in a mobile phone and then we will use that API key. Right, on your mobile phone, we have requested you to download one ThinkView free ThinkView app. Right, it will be looking something like this. Right, in this app, just click it. That app will open. Right, I think since it is a free, it will throw some kind of advertisement. That is okay. And here I think you have so many things. Forget about this. In your case, if you have not configured, nothing will be there. Right, there will be in the bottom, there will be a plus button. Right, click this plus button. It will show you 2 options: add channel, add all my channels. Just click add channel. Right, so the channel ID, you know what is your channel ID here. Right, let me put like this. Yeah, here is the channel ID. Right, my channel ID is this. You put your channel ID. Whatever is your channel ID, you can put your channel ID here. right? My channel is not public, it is private, and hence you uncheck this. The once you uncheck, it will ask API key, right? You can copy your API key. You can use either read or write because it is going to be read only. Read also will work, right? So just paste that. You just enter this API key here, right? Then you have in the bottom you will have search window, right? Press that search. Automatically it will fetch this thing, right? And say done. Now you see here it should have been created, right? One connection should have been created. Just click this. Now you can able to visualize your data on your mobile also, right? Whatever data I am seeing here, see here, whatever data I am seeing on my cloud, I can also see on my mobile. Right? I will try to connect a IoT kit. Right? And here I am going to use a Python. Let me open the file. Computer. So this is the same folder which I gave you, HTTP Python, right? That is what I'm going to open, right? If you see here, I have connected. Okay, I'll just bring in this device also. Now, if you see, I have connected another device right here. Now, this is a Python enabled device. I have an accelerometer sensor. I have a temperature and humidity sensor. I also have a display, and I have a SD card here. I have a light sensor, right? I have an RGB LED also here, right? Now I'm going to run this program from Thorny. Thorny is you can use various things, but I'm using a Thorny here. If I run this program, let me turn on my hotspot. Right. Now, if you see here, I am sending a data, temperature data, light sensor data, field 1 temperature, and my accelerometer data and my humidity data, right? I am just sending about 7 different data. I am sending it to the ThingSpeak, right? We will go through this code. I think we will also go through this code, but before that, I wanted to show you this data in ThingSpeak thing. Oh, I have not changed the thing. Just give me a second. I have to change this my key. Right. Again, I will stop. Again, I will run. Because the API key I have not changed, so that's the reason. Okay. Now this started sending this data, right? So I have an accelerometer. Now, if you see here, I'm getting minus 30, 240, 0 kind of a thing as an accelerometer data, right? Now, if I go and see on my ThingSpeak, I should able to see this file. here, if I go to the private view, right, I should get all 7 fields. This is the sensor what I am getting it now, right? From this sensor, whatever data you see here, whenever there is an LED is flashing, it is transmitting a data, right? It has come a new data here, right? I have put a delay. After that, this data is coming in here, right? So for you to visualize this data, I will just move my channel into a public channel. I'll just how to do it a public channel. There is a sharing option. You can click sharing. The shared channel with everyone. Just click this. That's it. Once you have done this, you can also see on the public channel. Now my data is on public, right? Let me also add a tag so that you can also visualize that. Let me add a tag. So let me put as a KIOT and save my channel. Now my channel is public, right? What you can do is you can just open a new tab. Please open a new tab. Again, click ThingSpeak. Right? You will get a home page. In this home page, in this channel, select public channels. You can select public channels, right? Public channels. Here there will be a tag, right? There will be a search by tag. Just type KIOT. Search by tag. Just type KIOT, then submit it, right? You will see here there is a KIOT demo, right? You can just click this thing, the KIOT demo. You should able to see this data. Whatever data I am seeing, now you should able to see the data, right? If you see here, of course, I think you cannot read here, but I am also printing whatever data here on the small graphics LED. I am also printing that. It's a graphics display. I am also printing this, right? Right? Not only this, go to the API keys. After you see this, go to the API keys, right? Keep this at an API key. Now go to the new tab. Again, new tab. There is also one more cloud server, Freeboard.io, right? Please type Freeboard.io. I think you should have created an account in Freeboard.io also. It's very simple, because Freeboard.io, we are trying to pull data from various servers and then you can show it as a simple dashboard, something like this, right? So in the Freeboard.io, just press the start now button, and if you have already configured, right, you can just sign in, right? Once you sign in, you will get this page. Once you sign in, you will get this page. Just enter here your demo name, right? Your board name, any kind of a name you can enter. Just create new. There will be a button called create new, right? It will create a blackboard to you, right? Once it is created a blackboard, once you create a blackboard, you need to add the data sources from where you are going to get a source, right? So just click add data source. Select, there are different type on which you can add, right? Our data is going to be JSON format. Just click JSON. Just click JSON, right? Here you can put any name. So for example, this is from my ThingSpeak. From ThingSpeak, you have to give URL, right? Come back to the previous tab of API where the public channel you are viewing, right? API. In the bottom,
psychology போறோட்டி உங்களுக்கு இங்கே உட்காருங்க. நாங்க computer science, நாங்க computer application. இது psychology.
so here you can
Dear participants, please mute your audio.
Honor of the department. எப்படி training
Navneet Kumar, please mute your mic.
HOD தானே? HOD of PT.
so here you can in a API request you will have read a channel feed and read a channel field, right? Please select the second one, read a channel feed, right? Select this URL up to equal to 2, copy this URL, go to Freeboard, and you can paste this URL here, right? So now it is going to be a get HTTP protocol. Every 5 seconds it will get, right? Then you just save it. Once you save, you will see that your data has come into this cloud, right? Freeboard is a different cloud server. ThingSpeak is a different cloud server. Our hardware is sending a data to the ThingSpeak. From there, I am pulling it to Freeboard. So like this, if I have n number of places my data, I can pull and then consolidate and show a thing, right? Once you have done this, now you can click add pan here. You can create a widget, right? For creating a widget, you need to create first pan. After you click add pan, within this there will be a plus button. If you can just click plus button, you can select a type of widget, right? Say for example, I wanted to put a widget of gauge, right? I can give any name here. Say for example, let me say this is my sensor 1, but the value from where it will fetch the value, use the data source, click the data source. It will show you the data source, whatever you have configured. You just click it, right? So there, after you click, it will show channel and feeds, right? Please select feeds, FEEDS, feeds. 0 and 1, please select 1. After you select data source, select your data source name, ThingSpeak. Under that, select feeds. Under that, 0 or 1, select 1. Here you can select which field data you wanted to display. I wanted to display field 1. And this say for example my data is going to be 0 to 50. If you want some units, you can put it. Just I save it, right? Now whatever temperature value I am sending, I can able to visualize here, right? If I want to see the trend, because this is going to show me the instantaneous value. If I wanted to see the trend, again I can add, right? I can again go and add here plus button. I can add a spark line, right? This is a trend graph. You can add a spark line. I don't need a title. So data source, again the same procedure, select a ThingSpeak, feeds 1 and the field 1, right? Save it. So now here it will show a instantaneous value, and here it will show the trend value, right? So like this, you can add n number of sensor values, whatever field you want, everything you can add. You can also add some kind of a picture. Say for example, let me add some kind of a picture, for which you need to have the picture at your web. Somewhere you should store your picture, right? Let me bring in some picture, whether it is when you are putting a picture, it should not be the URL link. It should be a image address, right? When you are clicking a picture, you should use a image URL address, right? I'll just show you that. After I configure this, I'll show you that. Here I wanted to have a widget of picture, right? I wanted to put a URL from where it has to take a picture. I just put every 30 seconds it has to refresh. I have added a picture, right? Now every 30 seconds, so this is a KOT picture, right? So if I want this to be a bigger, I can do that. I need 2 columns or 3 columns, whatever way I need, I can able to show this the picture, right? So when you add a picture, say for example, if you are adding a picture here, let me show you this. When you go to an image, right? If you right click, there will be a copy image address. You should use this. You should not use a link, right? Link address should not be used. You should use a copy image address. This is what you have to use it, right? Once you use it, you can bring in any kind of a picture, right? So I have created, I think there is this kind of a thing also you can bring in, right? Some kind of a pictures you can bring in, all kind of a sensors you can bring in. Then you can also show you in a full screen value also you can able to see. Not only that, if you want to say, for example, if you wanted to see the dashboard what I have created here, we have created this 2 dashboard, right? If I wanted to share this to someone, you have created, you just wanted to share someone, that is also possible. Let me put it in a chat window. You just right, I just put this link in a chat window. If you can click this, if any one of you click this, you can able to see my thing what I have configured, right? This is just, you can give that URL, the people can able to see, right? And about the code, if you get into the code for a Python here, okay, here again, if you see, I am importing some of the variables, import time, import machine, all these variables I am importing, right? After this, this is my user function, right? I'll come back to this. After I import, this is something my OLED, my graphics LED, what is the pixel, 128 by 64 pixel, right? I again here I need to connect to internet. I am putting my SSID and password, and I am using a network API protocol. I am just trying to connect using this NIC connect SSID password, right? After it connects, this is going to be my API key, whatever API key I have used, right? After this, in a loop function in Python, you will write as a while of true, right? So current time, and I'm calling one particular user function called measure temperature and humidity, right? This is the user function, and this user function I have defined here. If you see this user function, I am measuring my sensor value from ADC. I am measuring my DHT11 the temperature and humidity sensor value. I am measuring my accelerometer value XYZ, and I am adding all these values into field 1, field 2, field 3, field 4, field 5, up to 7 fields, right? I am also printing that in my OLED and appropriate pixels. After this, sending a data to cloud is very simple. I am just adding this HTTP API thingspeak.com update, right? And this API key, and I am just sending this values, right? This value I am storing in a variable called sensor.readings, right? That is what I am sending here. JSON is nothing but sensor readings, right? So I'm just putting a request.text. The text is what it is going to be, this thing. So that will send it to the ThingSpeak, and then it will close, right? So I'm putting an interval of 1 second. After this, it will keep on routine. This loop will continuously run. Measurement interval I have given here 20 seconds. So once in 20 seconds, if condition, after the first measurement, after finishing the 20 seconds, it will go to the second measurement, right? So that is what it will happen. So this Python code is also I have given you, and embedded C code also I have given you. You can verify those codes. It is fairly simple codes only. You can verify those codes, right? And both the experiments I have given you, both in Python as well as in embedded C, you can also compare, right? So you can use this as a reference thing, reference program. When you wanted to do some program also, you can do that as a reference, and then you can build on top of it also. You can able to build your own projects, right? Whatever project you wanted to do, you can also build using this as a reference. Then you can able to construct your own projects, right? Either in Python or this thing. But only thing what you have to remember is either it is a Python or embedded C, you need to choose the appropriate hardware, right? You need to choose the appropriate hardware, then you can able to do that. Right, so we have come to an end of the session. I think I have taken almost 15 minutes more, 15 or 20 minutes. These all things we have already done because as a document purpose I have created here, right? So the channel creation, API keys, manually giving this value, right? All these things we have already done, right? Using client.connect, we have connected, we have created this, and then we have updated with n number of sensors. One field, multiple fields also you can do a string addition, field 1, field 2, field 3, like that you can able to send to n number of things, right? Let me open it for a Q&A session. If you have any doubts, we can discuss. Parallelly, I will see during this Q&A session itself if I can able to set up the WSN IoT demo. Basically, WSN, what I wanted is there is 4 sensors connected in 500 meters away from the gateway, another 4 more sensors connected at the gateway. So totally there is about 900 meters, right? And we wanted to send this data to both ThingSpeak as well as HiveMQ, right? The sensor node, actuator node, the gateway, right? Something like this is what we wanted to do. The sensor node will have 4 sensors, actuator node will actuate some kind of a motor. Now this data should go to Freeboard as well as MQTT as well as HTTP. We could able to visualize, we should able to visualize, right? This is what we wanted to do the thing, right? So let me open it for Q&A. You can put it in a chat window if you have any clarifications or questions, right? Then parallelly during that time, if I can able to quickly set up that WSN thing, I can show you. Otherwise, anyway, the document will have that. You can refer. So any clarifications you can
Dear participants, if you have any queries, you can post your queries in the chat box. If not, you can unmute yourself and you can directly ask to the industry person.
so any queries, any doubts? Genie is a editor. It's a free. You can download it. Genie is an editor. You can download that. It's because it is easy to explain, right? It automatically takes what is your variables, right? What is your imports, what is your user functions, all these things. Explanation, it is easy, right? So it is an open source editor. You can download it.
Sir, we will send you the recording sessions and the slides as well after completing this whole 5 days, sir. Dear participants, if you have any other queries, you can post your queries in the chat box. If not, you can unmute yourself. You have the provision for that. So you can unmute yourself and you can ask the queries directly to the professor.
Okay.
Sir, I think they don't have any queries in this regard, sir.
Okay, just give me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can take your time, sir. No issues.
Give me 2 minutes. Yeah, I think Rangarajan sir asking why they are providing cloud space free of cost. It is a marketing tactic, sir. Very simple. If you start using it, then you will try to buy, right? So it is a very simple reason. I think nobody will give you free of cost without anything. So say for example, there are n number of cloud services are there. If somebody is giving free, and if you start using them, then when you want to go for a commercial, you will obviously uh, use that, right? So that is the thing which they wanted to. So your WSN also it is done. I will just share you this URL here. You can click this URL and you can able to see what I am showing you now, right? So I will try to first show you what I have as a hardware, right? See here, this is going to be my I am using 3 devices. This is going to be my gateway. This is going to be my actuator node. This is going to be my sensor node. Of course, this is only a battery. It's a mobile power bank, right? Now, this particular sensor node sends 4 different sensor values to this gateway via sub 1 gigahertz. You are seeing a small module here, top, right? The small module. This is a sub 1 gigahertz which can transmit up to 1 kilometer. So here I have kept, though everything is nearby, but it can transmit this and this and this. All 3 are connected using a wireless sensor network using sub 1 gigahertz. My gateway is connected also with my internet 2.4 gigahertz, right? Now if I am able to get that data here, right? So this is the sensor values. Let me just minimize this. This is the sensor values, right? If you see, I have added some pictures of KAOT ECE department, and if I put this in a full screen, the actual sensor value, whatever the sensor value now, it is coming from there. That is what you are able to see here, right? It goes to the things peak, and then you are able to visualize on this. The same thing I can also show you here if possible. Yeah, it is possible now, right? I have here. I'll just bring in the camera, right? If I turn off this LED, right? If I'm turning off this LED, you can see here the moment I turn off this actuator, right? You can see here, this is my actuator. Actually, my control goes to my gateway, right? Just I am turning on here. My see here, my gateway is also on. My actuator is also on. I don't have any control from the cloud to the actuator, but only through the gateway. I am sending this command to the gateway. Gateway in turn communicates through the WSN to this actuator, right? And this sensor value is what you are seeing from this whatever is the sensor, that is what you are seeing here. When I turn off this, right, the command will go to the gateway, then instantaneously this also turns off because this is communicating to here, right? When I turn on and another thing, you see here another LED which is a green here, right? So when I turn on both, because this is going to be an RGB LED, the color is changing, right? When I turn off this, only one LED will be turned off. Accordingly, this actuator also will be controlled. So you may have n number of nodes, 500 nodes, one gateway, and through that gateway you can able to do that. Right? Okay. So let me see any clarification or a doubt which they have posted. So yeah, I think there is no doubts. GSM module is not required because here, yes, if you don't have Wi-Fi internet, you can also use GSM, and through that mobile also you can do it. But the GSM module is not required. But nowadays the GSM module is not. Instead of that, you can put a SIM and turn your mobile as a hotspot. You get higher bandwidth 4G network because the GSM module doesn't support even a SIM 900 kind of a GSM module. The data rate is much lower, right? But still, if you want to use, you can use it. But in that case, what you will do is instead of Wi-Fi.begin, you need to call that SIM 900 GSM and connect it to an internet. So that's how you have to do it. Right. Well, I think there is not much of a doubt. I hope the feedback KAOT is collecting, so I will get it from them. So please be transparent enough, share your feedback, whatever way we have to improve. You can give us because the feedback is very important for us. That is the only mechanism which helps us to serve you better or improve our quality of services, right? So if you have any doubts, you can also mail us. So this is my contact, right? Mobile, of course, I do have a WhatsApp on this number, but when we are in an online class, we don't use our mobile phones. So the mail would be always better. This is my mail ID. I just wanted to also share you another thing. Through TI University program, there is also a possibility of online lab course. Actually, the IoT thing, we normally do it for 40 hours, right? So today, I think we have done it in 4.5 hours. So what is possible in 4.5 hours, that's what we could able to do it. But there is also an online lab course run on 3 streams. One stream is for students, one stream is for professors, and another stream is for working professionals, right? On 3 topics: Internet of Things, Embedded System, and Artificial Intelligence. Of course, this is not going to be free, but at the same time, it is not commercial basis. You need to have a kit. Whatever kit you have seen, that kit will be sent to the participants, and it's going to be an online lab course. And if some of your students are interested, it's a limited seats. Every batch we take only 60, once in a quarter, once in 3 months. So if you are interested, you can mail. Then I can send you further more details. So with that, if you don't have any doubts, then we can wind up. Back to Hari.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So, dear participants, we hope you have enjoyed the session. It was very informative, and the presentation is also very lucid. And his hands-on training is also very informative and lucid, I believe, and hope you people have enjoyed. And for your kind information, please, all of you, fill in the feedback form without face, since that is going to act as an attendance for you, and as well as by using that, we can improve ourselves where we are lagging. So, so I would like to deliver a formal vote of thanks for our today's resource person, V.S. Ramesh, sir. And so thank you so much for accepting our invitation, for being the resource person for this particular thing as well. You have been a resource person for artificial intelligence also. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation for being the resource person for this Atal sponsored faculty development program on Internet of Things, paradigms, principles, and applications as well, sir. And we are looking forward for your presence in the future sessions and future slots as well, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable presence, sir.
Thank you, Hari. It's our pleasure.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. As usual, sorry I took about 15-20 minutes extra. So
Thank you very much. You are giving as much information as possible. Just like that, if people were sit and listen to things, they can finish their research as soon as possible. We believe that the participants is going to make use of this entire day session in a highly useful way. Thank you very much, sir.
thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Sorry, in a virtual mode, we couldn't provide a break, coffee, and other things in that way.
No, that's
Virtually,
okay,
you
ma'am.
can
That's
entire
I think
day we're spoken non-stoply.
coffee, tea also virtually we
So
have to
thank you
drink.
very much for joining.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.